For generations, the true story of ancient America has been deliberately suppressed, a vast empire wiped from our history books. Historians and archaeologists have long ignored a mountain of evidence, content to keep a forbidden past locked away. But the secrets held within the soil of the Americas are now beginning to surface, revealing a civilization far older, far more sophisticated than anything we have ever been told. It's a revelation that promises to rewrite not just the history of a continent, but the entire story of humanity itself. So sit back, relax, and prepare to journey into a history that was never meant to be found. The accepted narrative of human civilization paints a clear picture. We are taught that the cradles of complexity emerged in distant lands, the Fertile Crescent of Mesopotamia, the Nile Valley of Egypt, or the Indus River Basin. In the Americas, the story goes human development followed a slower, more isolated path. Small bands of hunter-gatherers, trickling across a land bridge from Asia, eventually grew into agricultural societies. Over millennia, these groups slowly, painstakingly, built the great civilizations we recognize today. The Olmec, the Maya, the Inca. Magnificent, yes, but always seen as a separate, younger branch on the tree of human advancement. This is the ancient America paradox. We picture vast, untouched wilderness slowly yielding to human ingenuity. A new world discovered by Europeans, ripe for settlement. This view has become so deeply embedded in our collective consciousness that to question it feels almost sacrilegious. Mainstream archaeology has meticulously constructed this timeline, basing its conclusions on established dating methods and a careful interpretation of excavated sites. For centuries, the Bering Strait land bridge theory has been the cornerstone, suggesting the first significant migrations into the Americas occurred relatively late, perhaps 15,000 to 20,000 years ago. Early evidence of human habitation was largely confined to nomadic groups, leaving behind simple tools and temporary camps. The emergence of settled agriculture, pottery, and monumental architecture, the hallmarks of complex societies, is generally placed much later, well within the last few millennia. We are told that the earliest true cities and states in the Americas began to form just a few thousand years before the Common Era, long after the pyramids of Egypt pierced the sky or the first Sumerian kings ruled their city-states. This scientific consensus, reinforced by textbooks and academic institutions, provides a comforting, orderly progression of history. It explains how societies developed from simple beginnings to sophisticated cultures, step by step, over many generations. But there is a profound problem with this comforting explanation. Across the vast and varied landscapes of North, Central, and South America, a different kind of evidence has been quietly accumulating, challenging every assumption we hold dear. From deep beneath ancient riverbeds to the high plateaus of the Andes, artifacts and structures are emerging that simply do not fit the established timeline. They speak of a technological prowess, a cosmological understanding, and an organizational capacity that seems utterly out of place for the periods they are ascribed to. These are not isolated anomalies. They are a persistent, growing chorus of dissenting voices from the past. For decades, many of these findings have been dismissed, reinterpreted, or simply ignored, often relegated to the fringes of academic discussion. The mainstream narrative, once so clear and unassailable, is beginning to show cracks under the immense pressure of these new discoveries. The very foundation of what we understand about ancient America is starting to tremble. Some researchers believe this mounting evidence points to a truly forgotten empire, not just a collection of advanced tribes or city-states, but a widespread, interconnected civilization that predates even the earliest known cultures in the Old World. Could it be that North and South America were home to a vast network of highly sophisticated societies, complete with advanced knowledge of engineering, astronomy, and even metallurgy, at a time when much of the rest of the world was still emerging from the Stone Age? Theories range from a single, unified empire to a loose confederation of advanced cultures sharing knowledge and technology. Perhaps this lost civilization possessed skills that allowed them to manipulate landscapes on an unimaginable scale, or to construct buildings with a precision that defies explanation even today. What if their knowledge systems were so advanced they could chart the stars with incredible accuracy, leaving behind calendars and alignments that tell a story of deep time and cosmic understanding? The very idea of such a forgotten empire forces us to consider a radical paradigm shift in archaeology, one that demands a complete reevaluation of our understanding of human potential and global interconnectedness. It challenges the notion of a single cradle of civilization, suggesting that complex societies may have arisen independently, or even simultaneously, in multiple places across the globe, including here, in the land we once called the New World. This shift would mean re-examining everything from migration patterns to technological diffusion, opening up entirely new avenues of inquiry. If such an empire existed, what happened to it? Why has its existence been so thoroughly erased from memory and official history? These are not easy questions to answer, but the journey to find them compels us to look beyond the comfortable narratives. What secrets remain hidden, still waiting to be unearthed, that could finally lift the veil on this truly ancient American past and fundamentally change our understanding of where humanity truly began? Our journey into a forgotten past continues, shifting our gaze from the whispers of ancient texts and suppressed timelines to the very earth itself. For generations, the vast green heart of the Amazon basin has been seen as an untamed wilderness, home only to nomadic tribes or small, scattered villages. It was believed to be a place untouched by large-scale civilization, a pristine landscape resisting the hand of empire. But beneath its dense canopy, a silent revolution has been unfolding, one that is reshaping our understanding of pre-Columbian America and demanding we re-examine the very definition of a lost civilization. Hidden within the verdant expanse of the Amazon, particularly in regions of Brazil, Bolivia, and Peru, lies an astounding network of ancient earthworks known as geoglyphs. These are not simple drawings, but colossal designs carved into the landscape, visible often only from the air. Imagine immense squares, circles, and intricate geometric patterns meticulously etched into the soil, sometimes stretching for hundreds of feet, even miles. These aren't isolated curiosities. Hundreds, perhaps thousands, of these monumental shapes pepper the landscape, forming complex arrangements that hint at a sophisticated, organized society. The scale of these creations is breathtaking, their purpose enigmatic, and their very existence defies long-held beliefs about the Amazonian past. For centuries, mainstream archaeology maintained that the Amazon could not support large, complex societies due to its fragile ecosystem and perceived lack of agricultural potential. These scattered tribal groups were thought to live lightly on the land, leaving little lasting imprint. But there's a problem with this explanation. The sheer number, geometric precision, and often interconnected nature of these geoglyphs suggest something far more organized than scattered settlements. The patterns are too regular, too vast, and too numerous to be the work of small, ephemeral communities. New technologies, particularly LiDAR, light detection and ranging, pierce through the jungle canopy, revealing structures that have been hidden for millennia, structures that demand a complete reevaluation of the region's history. This technology unveils not just individual shapes, but entire landscapes modified by human hands. Some researchers believe these geoglyphs represent the outlines of ancient villages, ceremonial sites, or even vast agricultural grids designed to manage water and grow crops on an industrial scale. Could it be that what we once thought were simple, natural clearings were, in fact, the remnants of immense, carefully planned land art? What if these were the signatures of a lost civilization, engineering their environment on a scale previously unimaginable. These earthworks challenge the notion of the Amazon as a pristine, undeveloped wilderness, revealing it instead as a canvas meticulously sculpted by ancient hands, possibly the very first testament to a continent-spanning empire. If so, who were these colossal architects, and why did their civilization fade into such profound obscurity? The revelation of Amazonian geoglyphs was just the beginning. The penetrating gaze of LIDAR has also started to peel back the jungle's cloak, revealing not just abstract patterns, but the unmistakable footprints of entire lost cities. For centuries, stories of golden cities and legendary empires like El Dorado and the Amazon were dismissed as colonial fantasies, products of overheated imaginations. Explorers sought them, often in vain, reinforcing the belief that no true urban centers could have thrived in such an environment. Mainstream academic consensus held that the Amazon could only sustain small, dispersed populations, not the dense, organized settlements we associate with cities. But this long-held belief is crumbling under the weight of new evidence. LIDAR imagery has unveiled vast, interconnected urban sprawls, particularly in regions like the Beni Savanna of Bolivia and the Yupano Valley in Ecuador. We are seeing not just a few scattered ruins, but complex networks of plazas, monumental earthworks, defensive structures, raised causeways, and intricate hydrological systems designed to manage water. These aren't temporary camps. They are cities, complete with advanced pre-Columbian urban planning. Some of these newly discovered settlements span hundreds of acres, connected by elaborate road systems that stretch for miles, suggesting a level of regional integration and central authority previously attributed only to the Inca or Maya. The sheer scale of these discoveries forces us to acknowledge that what was once considered myth was in fact a vibrant, complex reality. Alternative theories now suggest that these were not just isolated cities, but possibly interconnected components of a larger, highly organized state or even an empire that flourished for centuries. Researchers speculate that these urban centers leveraged sophisticated agricultural techniques like terra preta, dark earth, and raised fields to sustain enormous populations in an otherwise challenging environment. Could these elaborate cities be the actual El Dorado, not a city of gold, but a sprawling, technologically advanced civilization that simply chose to build with earth and timber rather than stone, leaving only traces for modern eyes to discover? The meticulous planning, the extensive infrastructure, and the sheer number of these hidden urban landscapes point to a society with significant resources, labor organization, and intellectual capacity. What untold histories lie within these earthen walls, and how many more lost metropolises await their unveiling beneath the dense, green blanket of the Amazon? Beyond the earthworks and hidden cities, the Americas present another enduring puzzle: the widespread presence of megalithic architecture. From the enigmatic precision of Puma Punku in Bolivia to the massive, multi-ton blocks of Sacsayhuaman in Peru, and even lesser-known sites in Brazil and Colombia, impossible stones tell a story that challenges conventional history. The mainstream explanation attributes these feats of engineering to known cultures like the Inca or the Tiwanaku, who, it is believed, used basic tools, copper, bronze, and stone, combined with immense brute force and ingenuity to cut, transport, and fit these colossal stones. They argue that ramps, levers, and countless laborers were sufficient to achieve these monumental constructions. But there's a significant problem with this explanation. The precision of the cuts at sites like Puma Punku defies known ancient technologies. Some stones exhibit cuts so perfect they appear to be machined, with angles and surfaces that seem impossible to achieve with simple hammer stones or even metal tools of the era. The fitting of these multi-ton blocks is often so exact that a razor blade cannot be inserted between them. Moreover, the sheer weight of some stones, hundreds of tons, and the distances they were supposedly transported, often uphill, stretch the limits of what is considered feasible with primitive technology. There's also the mysterious absence of tool marks consistent with these simpler methods, or conversely, tool marks that suggest a technology not yet understood. Some of these sites, especially Puma Punku, show evidence of a catastrophic event, with massive blocks scattered and twisted, as if subjected to unimaginable forces. Alternative theories propose that these megalithic marvels are the remnants of a far older, unknown civilization, one possessing advanced knowledge of stoneworking and possibly forgotten technologies. Some speculate about methods involving sound resonance, material softening, or even a sophisticated understanding of levers and counterweights that has been lost to time. Could it be that the Inca and Tiwanaku inherited or rebuilt upon the foundations of a much older, more advanced culture, whose true capabilities remain a mystery? What if these impossibly cut stones are not just architectural feats, but fragments of a much older, foundational civilization that once spanned the Americas, providing the technological bedrock for the subsequent cultures that followed? The precision, the scale, and the sheer mystery of these stone giants continue to ask, what forgotten knowledge allowed ancient Americans to shape and move these colossal stones with such effortless mastery? The complexity extends beyond individual structures to entire landscapes transformed by advanced earthworks and engineering. Across North and South America, we find massive projects that defy simple explanation. Consider the Newark earthworks in Ohio, an enormous complex of geometric enclosures that perfectly align with lunar cycles, spanning over 4 square miles. Or the Cahokia Mounds in Illinois, once a thriving city built around monumental earthen pyramids that rivaled the great cities of Europe in its heyday. In South America, the raised field systems of the ancient inhabitants of the Beni Savanna, covering thousands of square miles, represent an astonishing feat of hydrological engineering, designed to manage seasonal floods and maximize agricultural output. Mainstream archaeology explains these as the work of various distinct indigenous cultures, built for ceremonial, defensive, or agricultural purposes, achieved through collective labor using basic digging tools like hoes and baskets. But a closer look reveals inconsistencies. The geometric precision of the Newark earthworks, maintaining perfect squares and circles over vast distances, suggests a sophisticated understanding of geometry and surveying that far exceeds the capabilities typically attributed to its builders. The sheer volume of earth moved at sites like Cahokia, an estimated 50 million cubic feet, represents an immense logistical and organizational challenge, requiring an advanced society capable of mobilizing and sustaining vast labor forces. The raised field systems in the Beni region are not just simple ditches. They are intricate, interconnected networks designed to support intensive agriculture and aquaculture, indicating a deep ecological understanding and long-term planning. These are not merely functional structures. They are expressions of a high level of scientific and engineering knowledge. Alternative theories suggest that these extensive earthworks are not just the product of disparate cultures, but might represent a unified vision, a shared technological foundation, or even the infrastructure of a widespread, sophisticated society. Some propose that these sites served as hubs within a larger economic or cultural network, designed with astronomical precision not just for ceremony, but for navigation, timekeeping, and calendrical purposes. What if the builders possessed an understanding of landscape engineering, hydrology, and celestial mechanics that allowed them to shape their environment on a continental scale? Could these vast earthworks be the public works of an integrated empire, rather than isolated efforts? If these were mere settlements or ceremonial sites, why such monumental, enduring efforts that rival the great pyramids of other continents, yet remain largely underappreciated in our history books? The undeniable evidence from Amazonian geoglyphs, newly revealed lost cities, the impossible megalithic architecture, and the astounding scale of ancient earthworks forces us to confront a profound truth. The Americas were not a pristine wilderness awaiting European discovery, nor were its ancient inhabitants merely scattered tribes with limited capabilities. They were sophisticated engineers, astronomers, and urban planners, capable of transforming landscapes on a colossal scale, leaving behind monuments that speak of a lost genius. The sheer volume and complexity of these structures, many still hidden beneath the earth, strongly suggest the presence of an advanced, widespread civilization, possibly even an empire, whose legacy has been buried by time and forgotten by history. The questions these stone giants and sculpted landscapes pose echo into our present. What untold stories do they hold, and how much more will they force us to rewrite about the true origins of civilization in the Americas? Our journey through a past rewritten continues, flowing from the colossal stone monuments that whisper of forgotten builders into another equally astonishing testament to ancient American ingenuity. For if the mastery of stone forces us to question the hands that shaped it, then the mastery of metals demands we reconsider the minds that understood the very elements. Imagine a time when gold, silver, and even the elusive platinum were not just valued for their beauty, but understood for their deepest properties, their very molecular structure manipulated by cultures we often dismiss as primitive. In the challenging landscapes of ancient Colombia and Ecuador, particularly in regions inhabited by the La Tolida and Tumaco cultures, lies an anomaly that shatters our conventional timelines of metallurgical achievement. Here, archaeologists have unearthed intricate artifacts not just of gold or silver, but of pure platinum. This presents a profound puzzle. Platinum, a notoriously difficult metal to work with, boasts an incredibly high melting point, a scorching 1770 degrees Celsius. For context, iron melts at a comparatively modest 1538 degrees. The mainstream explanation suggests these ancient artisans utilized a technique called sintering. This involves grinding platinum into a fine powder, mixing it with a lower melting point gold dust, and then repeatedly heating and hammering the mixture just below platinum's true melting point. The gold would melt, partially binding the platinum particles together, creating a spongy mass that could then be forged and polished. It's a painstaking process, requiring immense patience and a rudimentary understanding of thermal properties. But there's a significant problem with this explanation, one that stretches the imagination of modern metallurgists. Achieving the temperatures required for effective sintering, consistently and accurately, without modern kilns or forced air furnaces, is baffling. We are talking about cultures credited with only basic charcoal fires and blowpipes. Furthermore, the platinum artifacts themselves often display a remarkable purity and density, a finish that suggests more than just a loosely fused powder. Some pieces show intricate details and complex forms that would be nearly impossible to achieve with a cold-hammered, sintered mass. It begs the question, how did they prevent the gold from melting away entirely, leaving a pure platinum matrix, or achieve the complete fusion seen in some objects? The European discovery of how to work platinum only came in the 18th century, and even then, it was a complex process requiring advanced techniques. Alternative theories propose a lost technology, a profound understanding of heat management and material science that was either suppressed or simply forgotten. Could they have stumbled upon natural phenomena that allowed for such extreme temperatures, perhaps geothermal vents or specific types of geological fires? Some researchers even speculate about an entirely different, unknown method of chemical reduction or metallurgical bonding, a form of ancient chemistry that predates our textbooks. Could a sophisticated system of lenses have focused solar energy to achieve such precise, localized heat? Or did they possess a method of creating highly efficient, closed kilns capable of achieving and sustaining these extreme temperatures, knowledge that vanished without a trace? The unanswered question remains. How did these ancient American cultures, thousands of years ago, master a metal that remained intractable to the greatest minds of Europe for centuries, leaving behind a legacy of impossible metallurgy? Moving further into the heart of the Andes, the Moche, Sican, and Chimu cultures of ancient Peru perfected the art of working with gold and its alloys to an astonishing degree. They didn't just find gold. They understood it, manipulated it, and combined it with other metals to create artifacts of breathtaking beauty and specific functionality. The anomaly here lies in the sheer precision and scale of their alloying techniques, particularly with tumbaga, a sophisticated gold-copper alloy, and electrum, a natural gold-silver alloy. The mainstream view acknowledges their skill, attributing it to extensive experimentation and craftsmanship passed down through generations. They understood that adding copper made gold harder, more durable, and cheaper to produce for everyday items or large ceremonial objects. They also mastered depletion gilding, where the surface copper in a tumbaga alloy was chemically removed using organic acids, leaving a thin layer of pure gold on the surface, making a less valuable metal appear solid gold. But this explanation, while technically plausible, often understates the extraordinary level of control and knowledge required. The specific ratios of gold to copper in tumbaga artifacts were often highly intentional, not random. Different ratios were used for different purposes, some for greater malleability, others for specific colors, or even for acoustic properties in musical instruments. This wasn't just trial and error. It was an applied material science. The consistency of these alloys across vast geographical regions and centuries, along with the precise control over the depletion gilding process, which implies an understanding of acids and their interaction with metals, points to a much deeper scientific understanding than is typically credited. Could these ancient metallurgists have possessed a formalized system of knowledge, a kind of pre-scientific chemistry or alchemy, passed down through specialized guilds or priestly classes? Some alternative theories suggest they may have used sophisticated balance scales and measurement systems to ensure precise ratios, or that their methods of smelting and refining were far more advanced than simple open-pit fires. Perhaps certain natural acids, readily available in the environment, were precisely harnessed for the gilding process, hinting at a deep botanical and geological understanding. The uniformity in their techniques across different cultures suggests a shared, perhaps even centrally derived, body of knowledge. Were these ancient craftsmen merely skilled artisans, or were they truly scientists in disguise, their understanding of material properties rivaling, and in some ways preceding our own modern discoveries? Their gold and alloy work stands as a silent challenge to our assumptions. Beyond the composition of the metals themselves, the craftsmanship displayed in these ancient American artifacts presents another baffling anomaly: the impossible precision and intricate detail. From the microscopic filigree of moche ear ornaments to the seamlessly joined components of Sican funerary masks, the level of detail often defies what we believe possible with only hand tools and the naked eye. We see tiny beads, incredibly thin sheets, and perfect joins that seem to laugh in the face of our modern understanding of ancient technology. The mainstream perspective attributes this to incredible manual dexterity, years of dedicated training, and an unwavering commitment to perfection. Artisans would have spent entire lifetimes perfecting their craft, using stone hammers, bone chisels, and perhaps simple blowpipes for soldering. Their patience and skill would have been paramount, allowing them to achieve such intricate results through sheer perseverance. But a closer look, often under magnification, reveals details that push the limits of this explanation. The uniformity of incredibly tiny components, like individual gold granules perfectly spherical and consistently sized, implies a level of control beyond simple hand forming. The seamlessness of joins, often invisible even under scrutiny, suggests soldering techniques that were highly refined, preventing distortion or discoloration. How could such minuscule details be observed and manipulated without any form of magnification? Modern jewelers rely on loupes and microscopes for similar work. The sheer scale of such detailed work, consistently produced over vast periods, further questions the manual dexterity. Answer. Alternative theories delve into the realm of lost tools and advanced techniques. Could these cultures have developed basic magnifying lenses, perhaps crafted from polished obsidian or quartz crystals, allowing them to see the microscopic world they were shaping? Some scholars speculate about unknown methods of metal forming, perhaps involving a level of malleability or a different state of metal that allowed for such delicate manipulation. There's also the possibility of a lost understanding of specialized waxes or molds that allowed for incredibly fine casting, followed by meticulous finishing. The consistent, almost machine-like precision in some artifacts suggests a process that was more standardized than purely handcrafted. What unknown tools, what lost techniques, did these ancient masters wield to achieve a level of craftsmanship that rivals, and often surpasses, what we can accomplish today without the aid of our sophisticated technologies? The journey into ancient metallurgy in the Americas doesn't just stop at shaping metals. It begins deep within the earth itself, with the equally sophisticated challenge of mining. The anomaly here is the scale and ingenuity of ancient mining operations, as well as the apparent geological knowledge possessed by cultures that we typically imagine as having a limited understanding of their environment. Evidence of extensive ancient mines for gold, silver, copper, and other minerals can be found across the Andes and Mesoamerica, sometimes in challenging, remote locations. The mainstream historical view acknowledges ancient mining, describing it as largely rudimentary. Open-pit excavations or shallow shafts dug with stone tools, wood, and bone. They would follow surface veins, and once the accessible ore was extracted, the mine would be abandoned. The discovery of deposits was often attributed to chance observations of surface outcroppings. But this simplistic narrative struggles to account for the deeper, more extensive ancient mines that have been discovered. Some mines show evidence of sophisticated planning, including timber shoring, ventilation shafts, and drainage systems. How did ancient miners locate deep, hidden ore deposits with such accuracy, without geological surveys or advanced prospecting tools? Furthermore, managing the dangers of deep mining, collapses, lack of oxygen, flooding without modern engineering and pumps presents a formidable challenge. The sheer quantity of metal extracted over millennia implies a highly organized and sustained effort, far beyond simple, opportunistic digging. Alternative explanations for this sophisticated mining knowledge are compelling. Some researchers suggest that these ancient cultures possessed a profound, intuitive, and perhaps even esoteric understanding of geology, possibly passed down through generations of specialized miners. Could they have used methods akin to dowsing, or observed subtle environmental cues that indicated mineral deposits? There's also the possibility of lost engineering techniques for mine construction and management, perhaps involving natural ventilation systems, utilizing temperature differences, or ingenious methods for diverting or collecting underground water. Furthermore, the sheer scale of the labor required suggests highly organized societal structures, capable of mobilizing and sustaining large workforces in often perilous conditions, hinting at an empire with significant logistical capabilities. How did these ancient cultures not only master the fiery art of metallurgy, but also the perilous, complex science of extracting these precious elements from the Earth's darkest depths, leaving behind silent monuments to their geological acumen? Finally, the very composition of some ancient American artifacts reveals yet another layer of forgotten knowledge, unknown alloys and their mysterious purposes. We find objects crafted from multiple disparate metals, seamlessly joined, or alloys, whose specific properties were seemingly exploited for reasons we are only now beginning to understand. Bimetallic objects, for example, combining gold and silver in distinct, intricate patterns, go beyond mere aesthetics. The mainstream explanation for these unique combinations leans towards aesthetic choices or the practical need to conserve precious gold by mixing it with more common metals. The joining of different metals is attributed to skillful soldering or mechanical fastening, refined through generations of practice. But the precise control over specific alloys, sometimes for very particular types of objects, suggests a deeper, intentional design beyond simple ornamentation or economy. Why would certain alloys be consistently used for, say, acoustic instruments or ceremonial regalia, while others were reserved for everyday tools? The difficulty in joining metals with vastly different melting points and expansion rates further complicates the mainstream view. Achieving perfect, durable joins between gold and silver, or gold and copper without cracking or warping, points to a highly refined technical process. Could some alloys have been deliberately crafted for properties beyond their visual appeal, perhaps for specific energetic, magnetic, or even spiritual purposes that we no longer recognize? Alternative theories propose that these artisans possessed a nuanced understanding of material science, where different alloys were engineered for specific functional, symbolic, or even ritualistic properties. Some researchers suggest these specific combinations might have been chosen for their interaction with light, sound, or even subtle electromagnetic fields, perhaps related to ceremonies or healing practices. Could these ancient metallurgists have been exploring the full spectrum of material properties, some of which we are only now rediscovering? Perhaps certain, unknown alloys were not just combinations, but products of unique chemical reactions or processes, lost to time, designed to imbue the objects with specific, forgotten powers. Were these complex metallic creations simply beautiful works of art, or did they hold deeper, functional, or even mystical properties, designed with intentions that lie hidden, waiting for us to unravel? The evidence of impossible metallurgy in ancient America, from the enigmatic platinum workers of Ecuador to the gold masters of the Andes, from their unbelievably precise craftsmanship to their sophisticated mining endeavors and mysterious alloys, paints a picture of a society, or perhaps a network of interconnected societies, far more scientifically advanced and organized than our current textbooks allow. This was not the work of simple tribal communities, but of a culture that understood the very fabric of matter, a civilization with the knowledge, resources, and societal structure to extract, refine, and transform elements with a sophistication that defies explanation. Such mastery points to a deep, integrated understanding of the world, echoing the advanced engineering we saw in their monumental stoneworks, and inviting us to sit back, relax, and consider what other secrets this lost American empire might hold. Our journey through a forgotten past has revealed a staggering precision in both ancient construction and impossible metallurgy. But what if this exactitude extended beyond the material world, into the very fabric of time and space itself? Across the American continents, ancient structures whisper tales not just of earthly engineering, but of a profound connection to the stars. In Mesoamerica, the grand pyramids of Teotihuacan and Chichen Itza stand as silent testaments. Their careful construction speaks to more than just monumental ambition. Mainstream archaeology often attributes these alignments to a practical need. Early agricultural societies tracked the sun's path to know when to plant and harvest. Priests observed celestial events to predict seasonal changes, linking them to their deities and rituals. These were sophisticated calendars, designed for the rhythms of life. But there is a problem with this simple explanation. The alignments are far too complex, too precise, and too numerous for mere agricultural calendrics. For instance, at Chichen Itza, the Kukulkan pyramid casts a serpent shadow during the equinoxes, a marvel of solar engineering. Yet deeper analysis reveals orientations to the rising and setting of Venus at its extremes, and to specific stars that held significance over vast spans of time. The angles are not approximate, they are exact. This level of accuracy, repeated across numerous sites, suggests more than simple observation. It hints at a deep, scientific understanding of celestial mechanics, a knowledge far beyond what we typically credit to pre-telescopic societies. Could these architects have been mapping the heavens with an accuracy that rivals modern instruments? Some researchers believe these ancient builders possessed a lost science of the stars, a form of archaeoastronomy that went far beyond basic observation. They propose that specific structures were designed as terrestrial representations of the cosmos, encoding complex astronomical data. Theories range from an intuitive grasp of celestial cycles to an advanced observational technology now lost to time. Could it be that these towering structures were not just temples or tombs, but giant, fixed observatories, tracking the subtle dance of planets and stars over centuries? What if they were not simply reacting to the cosmos, but actively mirroring its harmony on Earth? This cosmic blueprint becomes even more evident when we look at the ancient calendars themselves. The Maya long count calendar, for example, is renowned for its incredible accuracy and its monumental scale. It tracks cycles spanning thousands, even millions of years, far beyond any human lifespan or historical record. It's an intricate system of interconnected cycles, much like a cosmic clockwork. Conventional scholarship acknowledges the Maya as brilliant mathematicians and astronomers, developing a base 20 numbering system and sophisticated methods for tracking the sun, moon, and visible planets. They observed the heavens with naked eyes and simple tools, yet calculated cycles with astonishing precision, including the synodic periods of Mars and Venus and the lunar cycles. But there is a profound mystery embedded within this calendrical genius. The long count calendar, in particular, seems to resonate with the concept of the precession of the equinoxes. This is the slow wobble of the Earth's axis, causing the celestial poles to shift over a vast cycle of approximately 25,920 years, often called the Great Year. Our modern understanding of this phenomenon requires centuries of meticulous data collection, advanced mathematics, and a profound understanding of astrophysics. How could the Maya, without advanced telescopes or written records stretching back millennia, have incorporated such a colossal cycle into their foundational calendar? It seems to imply a knowledge passed down, or perhaps discovered through means we do not yet comprehend. Alternative theories suggest that the Maya, or the civilization from whom they inherited their knowledge, were not merely observing the precession. They had integrated it into a holistic worldview, a spiritual and scientific understanding of cosmic time. Some speculate that this knowledge was inherited from an earlier, highly sophisticated global culture that had the capacity to track such long-term celestial movements. Could it be that they had access to records or observational data compiled over many great years? What if the calendar was not just a tool for predicting future events, but a record of a cosmic consciousness, a profound understanding of humanity's place within vast universal rhythms? The implications suggest a civilization that understood time itself in a way we are only beginning to grasp. Moving northward, across the vast expanse of the continent, the legacy of celestial architects continues to unfold, etched into the very landscape. In places like Cahokia in modern-day Illinois, massive earthworks known as woodhenges reveal precise solar alignments. At the Newark Earthworks in Ohio, an enormous octagon, nearly 1,200 feet across, is oriented. This brings us to the very heart of their lost knowledge: sacred geometry and its implications for cosmic understanding. Across ancient America, from the intricate patterns of Mesoamerican temples to the complex earthworks of the Mississippi Valley, we find recurring mathematical and geometric constants. The golden ratio, pi, phi, these fundamental constants of the universe appear embedded in the design and layout of their structures. This is not mere aesthetic preference. These ratios often govern natural growth patterns and celestial movements. Mainstream perspectives sometimes dismiss these occurrences as coincidental, or perhaps a natural aesthetic development that coincidentally mirrors natural ratios. They argue that without advanced mathematics, a conscious application of these complex ratios would be impossible. But the consistency with which these geometric principles appear, the way they interlock with astronomical alignments, and their presence across seemingly disparate cultures and epochs, defies simple coincidence. The precise angles, the specific proportions, the use of interlocking patterns that reflect natural phenomena, it suggests a deeper, conscious understanding. These aren't just pretty shapes, they appear to be functional elements encoding knowledge. The structures act as living textbooks, demonstrating universal laws. Much like the unknown alloys we saw in ancient metallurgy, these geometric codes hint at a sophisticated, abstract thought process. Alternative interpretations suggest that these cultures possessed a unified sacred science, a holistic worldview where geometry, astronomy, mathematics, and spirituality were inextricably linked. They saw the cosmos as a grand, mathematical blueprint, and their earthly creations were attempts to replicate and harmonize with this divine order. Some believe this knowledge was a core component of the lost American empire, a universal wisdom passed down through generations, allowing them to tap into the very fabric of reality. Could it be that they understood the underlying mathematical principles of the universe, seeing geometry as a language through which the cosmos spoke? What if their temples were not just places of worship, but living equations, physical manifestations of cosmic harmony designed to uplift human consciousness? If the ancient peoples of America truly possessed such a profound and precise cosmic knowledge, it fundamentally redefines our understanding of their technological, intellectual, and spiritual capabilities. It suggests a civilization capable of abstract thought, long-term planning across millennia, and scientific inquiry that challenges our entire timeline of human development. The conventional narrative limits these cultures to what we understand of pre-industrial societies, capable of keen observation but not true scientific advancement. They were skilled, yes, but not scientific in our modern sense. But the cumulative evidence, the impossibly precise alignments, the embedded mathematical constants, the calendars tracking cycles spanning eons, points to a level of sophistication that demands a paradigm shift. It suggests that this lost American empire was not just building with stone or working with metal. They were building with ideas, with universal principles, with a deep understanding of the cosmos itself. Their science was perhaps not separate from their spirituality, but integrated, a holistic wisdom that saw the universe as a unified living entity. Their cosmic understanding was not merely about predicting seasons, but about aligning human civilization with the greater rhythms of the universe. What other cosmic secrets did this forgotten American empire understand? What profound wisdom lies hidden within these celestial alignments and sacred geometries? If they could chart the vast cycles of time and space, what else were they capable of, and what might we learn by truly looking up at their stars? The heavens above hold more than just beauty. They hold the forgotten legacy of a lost science, waiting for us to rediscover its profound implications. The profound echoes of ancient wisdom, once thought lost to the mists of time, reverberate not only in the precise alignments of forgotten structures or the sophisticated calculations of celestial calendars. Sometimes this hidden knowledge manifests in objects themselves, physical anomalies that defy easy explanation, artifacts that simply should not exist according to our established understanding of history. We're left to wonder, if advanced civilizations once mastered the stars, what other impossible creations did they leave behind? Our journey into the depths of a suppressed past now leads us to these whispers from a deep time, to objects and stories that challenge every assumption about early human capabilities. These are the so-called out-of-place artifacts, or OOPARTs, items discovered in contexts that contradict conventional historical timelines, forcing us to ask uncomfortable questions about who made them and how. Mainstream archaeology often dismisses these finds as hoaxes, misidentified natural formations, or errors in dating. The prevailing view is that humanity's technological progression was a steady, linear climb, with distinct periods of innovation. Therefore, a complex device found in a layer of Earth hundreds of thousands of years old is, by definition, an anomaly. But there's a problem with this neat explanation. The sheer volume and intricate detail of many OOPARTs are difficult to reconcile with simple dismissal. Some are found by reputable researchers, others are subjected to rigorous analysis, yet their existence continues to puzzle. Could these objects be relics from a truly lost age, fragments of a forgotten technological heritage? What if certain civilizations, long erased from our textbooks, possessed capabilities we are only now beginning to rediscover? The implications are staggering, suggesting that the story of human achievement is far more complex and cyclical than we currently allow ourselves to imagine. Among the most compelling of these anomalies are the ancient maps, documents that seem to chart coastlines and landmasses with an accuracy impossible for their purported age. Foremost among them is the Piri Reis map, a Turkish chart dated to 1513. Its story begins with the Ottoman Admiral Piri Reis, who compiled it from numerous older source maps, some said to date back to the time of Alexander the Great. The map depicts the coastlines of West Africa, South America, and most controversially, a portion of Antarctica, seemingly free of ice. The mainstream explanation acknowledges the map's remarkable accuracy for its time, suggesting it was compiled from numerous now-lost ancient charts, some perhaps based on very early voyages of exploration or even Arabian and Chinese cartography. The depiction of Antarctica, it is argued, is either a lucky guess, a misidentified landmass, or based on speculative mapping of the southern continent before it was fully glaciated, perhaps as a theoretical continent. But there's a profound problem with this explanation. Modern scientific analysis, particularly by cartographers and geographers, has shown the Piri Reis map to be astonishingly accurate in its depiction of certain features, including the contours of the South American coastline, and crucially, the Queen Maud Land region of Antarctica. This region was not officially discovered until 1820 and was not fully surveyed until the 20th century, using modern aerial photography and seismic sounding. The map shows this Antarctic coastline without its ice sheet asterisk, which according to geological studies would have last been in that state tens of thousands of years ago. Alternative theories propose that the Piri Reis map, or at least its source material, must have been created by a civilization with highly advanced surveying and cartographic techniques, perhaps even the ability to map from an aerial perspective. Some speculate these were maps from a global civilization that existed before the last ice age, when such coastlines were truly ice-free. Others whisper of a forgotten pre-cataclysmic mapping effort, the remnants of which were passed down through generations. Could the Piri Reis map be a genuine artifact from a global empire that understood the world's geography far better than we give ancient peoples credit for? If such maps existed, what other hidden knowledge might have been preserved from an age we have forgotten? Moving south from the precise lines of ancient cartography, we encounter a collection of artifacts in Peru that push the boundaries of belief even further. The Ica stones. These are thousands of engraved andesite stones, ranging in size from small pebbles to large boulders, found primarily in the region of Ica, Peru. What makes them so controversial are the images carved upon their surfaces. They depict scenes that defy our current understanding of history. Dinosaurs coexisting with humans, often in domestic settings or being hunted. Advanced medical procedures, including brain surgery and organ transplants. Sophisticated telescopic devices, and even aerial vehicles. The mainstream archaeological community largely dismisses the Ica stones as modern forgeries, created by local farmers beginning in the mid-20th century. This explanation points to the lack of formal archaeological excavation for most of the stones and the convenient circumstances of their discovery. But there's a problem with this simple dismissal. The sheer number of stones, reportedly over 15,000, and the consistent, detailed iconography across the entire collection would require an extraordinary level of coordinated artistic effort for a hoax. Furthermore, some stones have been found in buried contexts, suggesting genuine antiquity. While formal dating has been challenging due to the surface engravings, the patina on many stones suggests considerable age. Alternative theories propose that the Ica stones are genuine artifacts from a forgotten epoch, perhaps from an advanced civilization that existed thousands, if not tens of thousands, of years ago. Could they represent a pictorial library from a time when humans lived alongside creatures we now only know from fossil records? What if they are direct evidence of a lost advanced medical science, or even forgotten technologies that allowed for flight and observation? The enigma of the Ica stones forces us to confront a past that, if true, shatters our timeline of human development and challenges our very understanding of evolution. Across the continent, in the Mexican state of Guanajuato, another collection of inexplicable figures challenges our historical narrative. The Acambaro figures. Discovered in 1944 by a German merchant named Waldemar Julsrud, this collection comprises over 33,000 ceramic figurines. They depict an astonishing array of creatures. What appear to be various species of dinosaurs, from sauropods to tyrannosaurs, unknown reptiles, strange, often horned humanoids, and a diverse range of human ethnic types from around the world. The mainstream explanation, similar to the Ica stones, attributes the Acambaro figures to modern hoaxes or clever folk art created by local villagers. Critics point to the relatively shallow depth at which many were found, and the fact that stylistic similarities to other pre-Columbian pottery are not always present. But there's a crucial problem with this dismissal. The sheer scale of the discovery is unparalleled. Creating over 33,000 unique and detailed ceramic figures would have been an enormous undertaking, a massive hoax factory producing for decades. Furthermore, initial carbon-14 dating tests conducted in the 1960s on associated materials suggested dates ranging from 2500 BCA to 1500 BCA, placing them firmly in an ancient context. While these dates remain controversial, the presence of such a vast collection of unique, often fantastical, imagery in a pre-Columbian context is profoundly perplexing. Alternative theories suggest that the Acambaro figures are genuine artifacts, possibly representing a cultural record of a time when humans shared their world with creatures we now categorize as prehistoric. Could they be artistic representations from a civilization with a vastly different understanding of the natural world? Or perhaps even a direct record of human interaction with fauna, long thought extinct before human emergence? The Acambaro figures stand as a silent, ceramic testament to a forgotten age, a collection that whispers of a past far stranger and more complex than we have been taught. Beyond the tangibility of artifacts, our deepest past also speaks to us through the enduring power of indigenous oral traditions. For countless generations, native peoples around the world have passed down stories, myths, and legends that encode their understanding of history, cosmology, and their place in the world. The mainstream academic perspective often views these oral traditions as folklore or metaphorical narratives, evolving over time and not necessarily reflecting literal historical events. They are considered valuable cultural insights, but rarely as factual accounts of deep time. But there's a powerful problem with this limited interpretation. Across every continent, indigenous traditions contain startlingly consistent themes and specific details that seem to defy independent invention. Many speak of global floods that reshaped the world, of cycles of destruction and renewal, of advanced beings who arrived from the stars or from other dimensions, bringing knowledge and seeding civilization. Australian Aboriginal Dreamtime stories describe lands now submerged under rising sea levels, recalling coastlines that haven't existed for over 10,000 years. Native American legends speak of a sunken land in the Pacific, or cataclysmic events that altered their environment. The ancient wisdom keepers in Mesoamerica and the Andes recount epics of highly advanced societies that flourished and then vanished. Alternative theories propose that these oral traditions are not mere myths, but rather highly stylized historical accounts, carefully preserved through mnemonic devices and ritual. Could these stories be the surviving memory of truly global cataclysms, such as the Younger Dryas impact event, passed down through the few survivors? What if the descriptions of sky people or star beings are not just metaphors, but echoes of actual contact with advanced cultures, perhaps even extraterrestrial ones, who visited or even guided early human development? The enduring power of these oral traditions, their startling accuracy regarding geological events, and their consistent themes of ancient knowledge point towards a collective memory of a shared, profound past that has been largely ignored by modern history. These disparate whispers from the past, anomalous artifacts, impossible maps, and persistent oral traditions begin to converge, revealing a larger, even more astonishing pattern. The undeniable evidence of global ancient cultures sharing remarkably similar knowledge, symbols, and architectural motifs. From the pyramid structures found in Egypt, Mesoamerica, and Asia, to the shared astronomical understandings across cultures separated by vast oceans, to the universal flood myths present in nearly every ancient civilization, the similarities are striking. The mainstream explanation attributes these parallels to independent invention or universal human archetypes. The argument is that given similar human psychology and similar challenges, different cultures would naturally arrive at similar solutions or narratives. Limited, localized diffusion of ideas is acknowledged, but never a truly global network in deep antiquity. But there's a significant problem with this explanation. While some similarities can be attributed to independent development, the precise and complex nature of many shared motifs, such as the world tree cosmology, the feathered serpent deity, or advanced mathematical and calendrical systems, defies simple coincidence. The architectural sophistication, the precise celestial alignments, and the advanced metallurgical techniques we've explored previously, appearing across continents with no known conventional contact, challenge the isolationist view of ancient history. Alternative theories suggest that these global parallels are not coincidences, but rather evidence of a shared ancestral source, a proto-civilization that spread its knowledge across the globe. Could there have been an extensive network of ancient mariners, perhaps from a now-lost global empire, who traveled the world, disseminating technologies and ideas? What if, as some indigenous traditions suggest, a common, highly advanced culture once thrived on Earth, its knowledge diffused to various corners of the globe before being largely erased by a cataclysm? The enduring and intricate similarities found across seemingly isolated ancient cultures compel us to reconsider the possibility of a single, global wellspring of knowledge and experience, a unifying thread that weaves through the tapestry of our forgotten past. Our journey through the forgotten landscapes of ancient America has unveiled a civilization of startling complexity, a people who mastered colossal stones, worked with exotic metals, and charted the heavens with uncanny precision. Yet as we stand before the grandeur of their silent achievements, a profound question echoes through time. Why did they vanish? What force could erase such an advanced empire from the collective memory of humanity, leaving only whispers in the stone and forgotten lore? Mainstream history often suggests that ancient societies, even advanced ones, can simply decline. Perhaps internal strife, a series of poor harvests, or a gradual shift in trade routes led to their eventual fragmentation and disappearance. It is argued that over centuries, cultures ebb and flow, leaving behind only the most resilient fragments. For a civilization without a clear written record as we understand it, such a slow fading might leave little trace beyond a gradual shift in pottery styles or settlement patterns. This conventional view paints a picture of societal evolution and decline that is often protracted and localized, not a sudden, dramatic erasure. But there is a troubling disconnect in this explanation. The evidence we have gathered, the impossibly massive geoglyphs, the precision-cut megaliths, the sophisticated metallurgy, the intricate celestial alignments, speaks not of a fragile, slow-fading culture, but of an empire built to last. The scale of their ambition and the depth of their knowledge suggest a robust, highly organized society. Could such an empire, seemingly at the apex of its power, but a growing body of evidence suggests a far more dramatic cause? Across North America, and in parts of South America and Europe, a distinct layer of sediment has been discovered, often called the Younger Dryas boundary layer, or black mats. Within this layer, scientists have found an array of unusual materials. Microscopic diamonds, often called nanodiamonds, which form under intense pressure and heat, like that of an impact. They also find platinum spikes, microscopic magnetic spherules, and charcoal indicating widespread wildfires. These are impact proxies, calling cards left behind by a cosmic event. The mainstream view acknowledges the Younger Dryas as a real climatic event, but remains highly cautious about the impact hypothesis, with many scientists arguing that the evidence for an impact is not conclusive or could be explained by other geological processes. Some suggest that the nanodiamonds could have formed from terrestrial fires, or that the spherules are volcanic in origin. They highlight the ongoing debate within the scientific community, emphasizing that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. The idea of a global cataclysm from space is certainly extraordinary. Yet, the consistent discovery of these unique markers at the same geological horizon, across multiple continents, at the very moment the megafauna disappeared and the climate rapidly cooled, offers a compelling counter-narrative. It prompts a daring alternative theory. What if a fragmented comet or asteroid struck the Earth, or exploded in its atmosphere, unleashing a torrent of destruction? The resulting airbursts, tsunamis, and widespread wildfires could have devastated vast landscapes, leading to an impact winter where dust and debris blocked the sun, causing rapid cooling. If this cataclysmic event truly occurred, and if it coincided with the existence of our lost American empire, then the question of its disappearance takes on a chilling new dimension. A global firestorm followed by a sudden plunge into an ice age would not merely disrupt a society, it would utterly dismantle it. Entire ecosystems would collapse, food sources would vanish. The infrastructure of any advanced civilization would be crippled beyond repair. What if the builders of the massive geoglyphs and the sophisticated astronomers charting the heavens were caught unprepared by such a cosmic blow? Could the Younger Dryas event be the hammer blow that shattered this ancient American empire, erasing their sophisticated knowledge and pushing any survivors back into a struggle for mere subsistence? The very nature of this event, if proven, would represent a global reset, a historical dark age far more profound than any documented. Beyond the Younger Dryas, Earth's history is punctuated by other dramatic geological cycles and cataclysms that could have played a role in erasing ancient legacies. Our planet is not the static, unchanging home we often perceive it to be. Its crust shifts, its climate oscillates, and its skies can unleash fury. The geological record speaks of periods of extreme volcanism, such as the massive eruptions of supervolcanoes, which can blanket entire continents in ash, block sunlight for years, and trigger mini-ice ages. Imagine an eruption on a scale far beyond anything humanity has witnessed in recorded history. Mainstream geology meticulously maps these events, understanding them as powerful, though rare, natural occurrences. They are seen as part of Earth's deep history, generally separated by vast stretches of time, and not typically linked to the sudden demise of specific, advanced human civilizations. While acknowledged as planet-altering, their direct impact on advanced human settlements has largely been seen as localized or limited to specific regions. But what if a series of such events, or one particularly devastating one, coincided with the flourishing of an American empire? What if a cataclysm in a distant land, or even within the Americas, disrupted global climate patterns, leading to drought in one region and massive flooding in another? The sheer scale of some ancient geological events challenges the notion that human civilization could simply weather them. Theories extend to concepts like pole shifts or rapid crustal displacement, where the Earth's entire outer shell could shift relative to its core, moving continents rapidly into different climatic zones. While highly controversial and not accepted by mainstream geophysics, these more fringe theories underscore the potential for truly apocalyptic geological forces. Could such immense geological cycles, or perhaps a sudden, colossal volcanic eruption, have been the ultimate undoing of this advanced American civilization? If an empire's cities and agricultural lands were suddenly submerged by rising seas, buried under volcanic ash, or rendered uninhabitable by rapid desertification, the knowledge and infrastructure of that society could vanish with breathtaking speed. It leaves us with a stark question. Were these ancient people, with their advanced understanding of the cosmos, also privy to the Earth's deeper, more violent rhythms, perhaps even predicting the very forces that would eventually consume them? The disappearance of such an advanced civilization also compels us to examine theories of societal collapse and, critically, the loss of knowledge. How does an empire capable of building monumental structures and performing intricate celestial calculations regress to a state where such abilities are utterly forgotten, becoming mere legend if they are remembered at all? Conventional historical and sociological theories of societal collapse often focus on factors like overpopulation, resource depletion, internal political instability, or external invasions. These factors can certainly lead to a decline in technological prowess and a loss of centralized power. When a society fragments, knowledge can become localized. Specialized skills can be lost if apprenticeships break down, and grand projects become impossible to organize. The Dark Ages in Europe after the fall of Rome serve as an example, where literacy declined, and certain advanced Roman engineering skills were temporarily lost. But the moment here is the sheer asterisk scale of the lost knowledge we've discussed. We are not talking about a temporary decline in literacy. We are talking about the apparent obliteration of entire technological paradigms. The ability to move colossal stones, to work with exotic alloys, to map the heavens with incredible precision. This suggests a far more profound break than typical societal decline. It implies not just a forgetting, but an almost total asterisk wipeout of institutional memory, a systemic trauma that went far beyond political shifts or localized famine. Alternative theories propose various mechanisms for such a comprehensive loss of knowledge. Some speculate that after a cataclysm, survivors were so focused on basic survival that the luxury of advanced science and engineering was abandoned. Knowledge keepers might have perished, or their records destroyed. Others suggest that the trauma itself could have led to a kind of collective amnesia, a desperate clinging to simpler ways of life, with the sophisticated past viewed as a source of their doom, perhaps even forbidden or suppressed by new, emergent leaders? Could it be that what remained of the empire's people intentionally chose to destroy or hide their advanced knowledge, fearing it had somehow contributed to their downfall, or wishing to avoid a repeat of the cataclysm? The sheer terror of a global event could lead to a cultural reset, where the old ways are abandoned not out of forgetfulness, but out of a desperate need to survive and rebuild under entirely new parameters. This brings us to the profound and irreversible impact of environmental change. When we consider the potential for cataclysms, we must acknowledge how fundamentally they can alter the very environment in which a society thrives. An advanced civilization, especially one that has settled and developed agriculture, is often finely tuned to its local climate and resources. Mainstream environmental history meticulously tracks shifts in climate, desertification processes, and sea level changes over millennia. These are understood as natural phenomena, driven by solar cycles, orbital variations, and internal Earth processes. While these changes can certainly stress a society, the prevailing view is that cultures adapt, migrate, or slowly decline over generations. But if the changes are sudden and extreme, adaptation may not be an option. Imagine a civilization flourishing in a fertile river valley that is suddenly deluged by catastrophic floods from rapidly melting ice sheets, or slowly encroached upon by an advancing desert, or even submerged beneath a rising ocean. The younger Dryas, for example, saw not only a rapid cooling, but also significant sea level fluctuations as glaciers advanced and retreated. What if large coastal cities or fertile lowlands of this American empire were simply swallowed by the sea or buried under new sediment layers, forever hidden from our sight? Alternative theories propose that a rapid and dramatic environmental shift, perhaps triggered by a cosmic impact or hypervolcanism, could literally pull the rug out from under an entire civilization. Rivers might dry up or change course entirely. Lush forests could become arid plains. Vast coastlines teeming with life and human activity could be inundated within a human lifetime. In such scenarios, the lost knowledge isn't just forgotten. The physical evidence of its application could be buried kilometers deep, beneath new geological formations, or at the bottom of now deeper oceans. Could the remnants of this magnificent American empire be lying beneath the waves of our modern oceans, in regions that were once fertile plains during an ice age with lower sea levels? Or are its cities and industrial centers entombed beneath the vast deserts that now cover parts of the Americas, deserts born from ancient climate shifts? The possibility that entire landscapes, once the heartlands of a great civilization, were rendered unrecognizable by swift and severe environmental catastrophe forces us to reevaluate where we even look for evidence. It implies that the quest for this lost empire may require us to peer into the very depths of our oceans and beneath the shifting sands of our deserts. If these ancient cataclysms, particularly the younger Dryas impact, did indeed strike the Americas with such devastating force, and if they obliterated an empire older than Egypt, what does this tell us about the resilience of civilization itself? What profound lessons are hidden in the dust and ice, waiting for us to understand? And how much of our own future is reflected in their sudden disappearance? A chilling reminder of the fragile balance between human achievement and the immense, indifferent power of the cosmos and our own dynamic planet. These powerful forces erased an empire, burying its secrets beneath the sands of time. But the whispers of that lost world, though faint, were never entirely silenced. They persist, waiting to be heard, demanding we look again at what we thought we knew. This demand for a fresh perspective creates a profound tension. For generations, the story of human civilization has been told as a linear ascent, a slow climb from simple beginnings to complex modernity. We've learned of ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, Greece, and Rome, forming a comforting, well-understood timeline. This framework has served as the bedrock of our historical understanding, providing a seemingly complete narrative of humanity's journey across millennia. Our textbooks, our museums, our very understanding of ourselves are built upon this gradual, progressive march of civilization. But there's a problem with this neatly arranged timeline. The evidence we've explored, the impossible structures, the advanced crafts, and the celestial knowledge simply do not fit. These discoveries, scattered across the Americas, contradict the slow, linear progression. They suggest instead a sudden, inexplicable burst of advanced understanding, or perhaps a knowledge inherited from a much older, forgotten source. The very existence of this evidence forces us to confront the possibility that the foundations of our historical narrative might be incomplete, or even fundamentally flawed. To accept these findings requires us to dismantle deeply held beliefs, to question the very experts who have guided our understanding for centuries. Some researchers believe that the reluctance to rewrite history stems from a powerful academic inertia, a natural human tendency to defend established truths. A complete reevaluation would mean admitting that vast periods of human achievement have been overlooked, ignored, or actively suppressed. It would mean careers built on one understanding of the past would suddenly face intense scrutiny. But new technologies, like advanced remote sensing and digital archaeology, are rapidly bringing these forgotten pasts to light, making it increasingly difficult to ignore the anomalies. These tools are democratizing discovery, allowing a wider range of voices to question the traditional narratives. The challenge isn't just about finding new data. It's about developing an open-minded inquiry, a willingness to see the past with new eyes, unburdened by preconceptions. It's about letting the evidence speak for itself, no matter how much it contradicts what we thought we knew. Can we, as a collective, truly embrace a past that challenges our most fundamental assumptions about who we are and where we come from? The very existence of such advanced, ancient cultures in the Americas also forces us to consider a staggering thought: the profound implications for lost human potential. We often envision early human ancestors as simple beings, struggling for survival, their minds consumed by basic needs. Our accepted history teaches that ingenuity and complex thought were products of gradual evolution, slowly blossoming over vast spans of time, culminating in our modern era. The idea of advanced mathematics, engineering, and astronomical precision in societies thousands of years before the accepted rise of such skills often feels like an anachronism. But there's a problem with this limited view of ancient capabilities. The intricate gold and platinum metallurgy, the perfect stone cuts of immense megalithic sites, and the sophisticated celestial calendars we've glimpsed suggest a different reality. These aren't the products of struggling primitives. They speak of a profound understanding of materials, forces, and cosmic cycles that seems to defy the conventional timeline. It pushes us to ask if these ancient peoples accessed aspects of human ingenuity and knowledge that we have since forgot or perhaps never even discovered in our own linear progression. What if their advancements were not merely technological, but also a deeper connection to natural principles, to the very fabric of the universe? Alternative theories propose that these ancient Americans, perhaps from an earlier, highly developed civilization, understood the world in ways that transcended our current scientific paradigms. Some believe they possessed a unique form of consciousness, an intuitive grasp of energy and matter that allowed them to achieve feats we deem impossible with our current tools and theories. What if the lost technologies were not machines in our sense, but a mastery of resonant frequencies, acoustic levitation, or even a profound psycho-spiritual connection to their environment? The very thought that humanity once possessed such profound capabilities, only to lose them to cataclysm and time, is both humbling and inspiring. It suggests that our own potential might be far greater than we currently comprehend, that there are avenues of understanding and ability waiting to be unlocked within the human spirit. If these ancient Americans achieved such mastery, what other forms of human potential lie dormant within us, waiting for the right conditions to reawaken? As we broaden our perspective, we also find ourselves standing at the precipice of an unprecedented era of future archaeological discoveries. For centuries, exploration was limited by physical constraints, relying on intrepid adventurers and the slow, laborious process of digging through layers of earth. It was believed that most major ancient sites had already been unearthed, and that future discoveries would largely be incremental, filling in smaller gaps in an already well-defined historical map. This conventional wisdom held that the grand narratives of the past were mostly written, awaiting only minor edits. But there's a problem with this limited expectation. The relentless march of technology is fundamentally transforming the way we search for and find the remnants of the past. Satellite imagery, ground-penetrating radar, and especially LiDAR technology are peeling back the dense jungles, mapping the ocean floors, and revealing anomalies beneath even seemingly barren landscapes at an astonishing rate. We are discovering more previously unknown sites in a single decade than in centuries of traditional archaeology. This explosion of new data, much of it from remote and previously inaccessible regions, challenges the very notion that everything has been found. It suggests we have only just begun to see the true scope of ancient human habitation and achievement. Some researchers now believe that these ongoing and future archaeological discoveries will not just add new chapters to history, but rewrite the entire book. The consistency of advanced knowledge and building techniques found across continents, the echoes in mythology and cosmology, and the undeniable presence of out-of-place artifacts all point toward a truly global ancient connection. It suggests that human societies were not isolated pockets of development, but rather part of a vast, interconnected network in the distant past. Could there be hidden underwater cities along ancient coastlines, now submerged for thousands of years, holding clues to a shared global heritage? What about the vast, unexplored regions of the Amazon, still largely unmapped, or the deep mountain ranges of the Andes, waiting to reveal their secrets? The idea that a truly global civilization, exchanging knowledge and perhaps even sharing a common source of origin, existed long before recorded history, is no longer a fringe theory, but a compelling possibility illuminated by every new find. As the veils of time are lifted, what monumental discoveries still await, ready to reveal a truly global narrative of our ancient past? The implications of accepting this broader, more complex view of human history are profound, stretching far beyond academic debates. If sophisticated, widespread civilizations rose and fell multiple times, as the evidence we've explored strongly suggests, then our current understanding of linear human progress is not just incomplete, but potentially misleading. Our modern narrative often positions us at the apex of an ever-ascending trajectory, with each generation inherently more advanced than the last. This gives us a sense of security, a belief in inevitable progress that overlooks the cyclical nature of history. But there's a problem with clinging to a purely linear view of human development. The recurring pattern of societal ascent, achievement, then ultimate collapse, often due to cataclysmic events or internal failures, forces us to reconsider our own place in this grand, unfolding story. It challenges the assumption that our current civilization is somehow immune to the forces that erased previous ones. If a vast and advanced American empire could vanish, leaving only enigmatic echoes, then what lessons does this hold for our own global society, grappling with environmental challenges and societal divisions? This shift in perspective makes us question not just our past, but our future. Alternative theories suggest that these ancient civilizations, far from being primitive, might have possessed a wisdom about sustainability, about living in harmony with the earth, and about cosmic cycles that we have largely forgotten. Some ponder if they held keys to problems we face today. solutions for sustainable energy, advanced healing modalities, or even a deeper understanding of human consciousness and collective well-being? What if the lost knowledge wasn't just about building, but about existing in a balanced and enduring way? This cyclical view of history, illuminated by the rise and fall of forgotten empires, offers not just a warning, but perhaps a blueprint. It invites us to look back not with a sense of superiority, but with profound humility, seeking wisdom from those who walked